Okay, so we're going to continue our coverage over Darkseid War, and we do pick up with another tie-in. This one does focuses on Lex Luthor, because remember, when it came to the Justice League in Darkseid War, right after Darkseid was killed off, you had a bunch of different characters on the League become gods in different kinds of ways. So for example, Batman became the god of knowledge. Superman became the god of knowledge. Flash became the god of death. Except when it came to Lex Luthor, well, he became the god of Apokolips, the new ruler of Apokolips, replacing Darkseid. And that is very huge. And the only reason why Lex Luthor was able to become the next god of Apokolips is because when it came to Darkseid, when he died, the Omega energy had to go somewhere, and it went over to Lex Luthor. Now, it's not like the Omega energy chose Lex Luthor. Matter of fact, it was given to Lex Luthor by a group of people who believed that Lex Luthor is their supposed hero, their supposed savior. And what I mean by that is, when it comes to this group of people, they had a prophecy that somebody from Metropolis would come to Apokolips, be able to take over Apokolips and make the planet better for everybody across the board. Now, when it came to the prophecy, they were talking about Superman. But of course, Clark turned evil, became the god of strength, and left Apokolips and went back to Earth. And so when it came to the group of people, they found Lex, and you had Lex lie saying that he was their chosen person, but in reality he wasn't. Either way, they decided that he was going to be their hero, and they gave him the Omega energy, which of course made him become the god of Apokolips. And so getting into today's storyline, we actually pick up with Lex Luthor in the past currently crying. And the reason why? Because he fell in a well. Now, the reason why he fell in this well, because he was on a hunting trip with his father, and as soon as a deer appeared, well, homeboy freaked out and began to run away. Unfortunately, he fell inside this well, where we see him crying and freaking out because he feels like nobody is going to be able to save him. Now, his father does appear, and he does feel very excited about the idea that his father was able to find him. But when it comes to Lex's father, he's kind of like, I'm not going to help you. No, you got in that mess by yourself. You can get yourself out of that mess. The thing is him trying to teach Lex that only weak people ask for help. Strong people do not ask for help. And this is right here a moment for you to show me that you are not a weak child, a weak son of mine, that you are a strong human being, meaning that get out of that well by yourself. Here's a rope and begin to climb out because you are a Luthor. You are strong and powerful. But getting back over to the present day, we pick up with Ardora trying to explain how things work on Apokolips. Now remember, Ardora was the leader of the group of people that gave Lex Luthor the Omega energy to make him become the god of Apokolips. And so right now you have her kind of showing Lex around Apokolips to show him that what her people have been going through as slaves, but also trying to make sure they're not killed off by the different kinds of creatures on Apokolips. That her people live a horrible life. They have gone through so much being on this particular planet. Now, when it comes to Ardora, she's kind of realizing that Lex Luthor is a very interesting choice for the Omega energy, because when it comes to her people's prophecy, she believed that they would get some super strong hero like Superman, but instead they got Lex Luthor, somebody who looks very frail. Either way though, she's trying to show Lex what her people go through. But for Lex, he's kind of like, listen, because I have the Omega energy now, that means I should be able to begin the process of making this planet even better. But the problem is though, the Omega energy is still new to Lex's body, which means that he does not have full control over his new abilities just yet like he thinks he does. And so when he tries to use his powers, well, unfortunately, it backfires and begins the process of him and Adora falling to their death after falling off a cliff. But then we get another flashback, and this one really deals more with Lex Luthor having a conversation with Perry White. What I mean by that is, when it comes to Perry White, the owner of the Daily Planet, he is currently working on a story about Lex Luthor. The problem is, though, the story that he is trying to publish is going to make Lex look very bad in the eyes of the public. And so when it comes to Lex, he wants to get the story shut down. And he's trying to scare Perry into the idea of shutting down the article. Except when it comes to Perry White, he's like, dude, no, there's no way I'm going to shut down my story because what I said is actually true about you. You are a crooked person. Now, this leads into Lex saying, listen, let me flex my power. See, my father was great at hunting. He believed only strong men could be great hunters. The thing is, I was not a great hunter, but I had to show my father that I was better in something different. I'm still a strong man. And I showed my father I am able to become a strong businessman, but able to take out my opponents, my competition out there. And you have Lex show Perry White different companies that he had bought out over the years to prove that nobody is able to go up against LexCorp or go up against Lex Luthor. And so he tells Perry, you better shut down that story or I'm going to buy out the Daily Planet next. And when that happens, well, guess what? I will show you how strong I truly am. But for Perry, he is not scared of Lex Luthor one bit. But getting back over to the present day, you have Adora explain to us why Lex Luthor is having a very difficult time controlling the Omega energy. And what she says is that it's Lex Luthor kind of not being able to control his actual feelings, that he's always angry at all times. But at the same time, he has to understand the idea that it is okay to ask for help. That is very important. And the reason why I'm saying that because guys, Lex never does ask for help. Adora is saying that's your problem right now. Until you are able to realize it is okay for you to ask for help, the Omega energy will never be truly under your control. It will always go wild and crazy. If you want to be able to control that energy, then you're gonna have to be able to basically admit that it is okay to ask for help. Asking for help does not make you a weak person, a weak man. It still shows that you are okay to get some help when you're going through a difficult problem. And that is very important for this entire storyline. And the reason why, because when we jump back in time one more time, we pick up with another moment where you have Lex Luthor about to fall to his death. But you have Clark Kent being there as Superman with a hand out saying, grab my hand, I can save you. Except he wants Lex to go ahead and admit it is okay to take someone's help. But the thing is, when it came to Lex's father, he drilled in Lex's mind, it is not okay for you to ever ask for help from anybody. And so because of that, he's kind of like, no, I cannot accept your help, Superman. But the thing is, if he doesn't, he'll fall to his death. And the thing is, Lex is so hard-headed, he's kind of like, no, I would rather die than ask for your help. And unfortunately, Lex begins to fall out of the sky where he could have possibly died. We already know that he was saved by Superman, but that shows that because of Lex's father, with the idea of saying you should never be a man who asks for help, Lex almost died because he couldn't ask for help. And really, the story wraps up very quickly because once we do jump back into the present day, it's Lex Luthor realizing that he has no choice but to ask for help because he's currently falling to his death. And when you have Adora trying to save him, well, unfortunately, she also begins to fall to her death as well. And she's saying you have to realize that it's okay to ask for help, because you're a god, yes, but even gods need help when it comes to handling different kinds of situations. And once he realized that, yes, it is okay to ask for help, that is when he begins the process of being able to fully control the Omega energy. And once he has that control, he was able to teleport him and Adora to the ground safely. And when he looks up, he realized that he's surrounded by a bunch of people who believe that he is now the God of Apokolips. They are going to work alongside with him, do everything he commands, but they are hoping that he can make this planet an even better planet now. And this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.